Hey everybody, it's me, Bryson Booker, and guess what? I'm back with another DVD review just for you guys. It's been a while, man, since I've done a DVD review for you guys, and I'm so excited because over the past couple of months, I've gotten some new DVDs. Some have been new TV shows, some of them I've gotten rid of because I hated the TV show and I traded it in for another TV show. But this summer, I picked up this particular TV show, and this is one of those shows from the 90s. I gotta put on my glasses because I'm an old man now, so here we go. That's a little bit better. Alright, this is one of these shows from the 90s, the latter end of the 90s. In fact, now it's over 20 years old. What do you know? But this is one of those shows that premiered in 1999. You either remember it or you don't. It really did not come on an official kids network. Let's just say it that way. It didn't come on Nickelodeon, didn't come on Disney Channel, didn't come on Cartoon Network. So what did it come on? It came on cable. And if you remember anything about cable cartoons, you either remember them or you don't. You either really liked them or you really didn't. They were either really good or they really sucked, especially in the latter part of the 90s. Cable cartoons were just losing their flavor. You had shows like Mega Babies, Mad Jack the Pirate on Fox Kids. This was the tail end of cable cartoons, and some of them were halfway decent, like Augie and the Cockroaches. Many of them, like Augie and the Cockroaches, weren't even made in the U.S. They were made in like France and China and all these other places. They weren't even made here. Thirdly, they were put at really weird times of the day. So like at 7 in the morning, 6 in the morning, 8 p.m. at night. These cable cartoons you could catch at any random part of the day. And many times, many of them, like this one I'm about to show you now, were kind of spread out in between like infomercials. That's just how weird cable cartoons were by the end of the 90s. It was really worth getting a subscription to Cartoon Network by this point because, these cartoons that aired on normal broadcast stations, they were meh. But this one, Archie's Weird Mysteries, actually did something different, and it had a different concept. It wasn't a concept that was out of the norm, but it did something different, and it had pretty decent voice acting, pretty great animation, and some pretty interesting stories, at least to me. But that's what I'm going to be reviewing today. This is Archie's Weird Mysteries, the complete series. And obviously it's so slim because the show had a very slim lifespan. Archie's Weird Mysteries originally aired from October 1999 up until 2000. It only lasted a year. That's primarily the lifespan of these cable cartoons. About a year or 2 years. 2 years at max. But this one got a year. It aired on Ion Television. At least that's the name of the network now. I think back in the day, before Ion Television became Ion Television, it was called PAX TV. So if you read, Wikipedia, you'll hear that this show came on PAX TV. Well, PAX TV ended up being Ion Television as we know it now. Channel 13 on your cable dial. If you still have cable. Just saying. But yes, it did come on cable television. It came on primarily in the mornings, again, kind of dispersed between infomercials. But yes, it was a show. And yes, it's a pretty good show. A lot of people really overlooked this cartoon. I did for the longest time. For the longest time, I wanted to hate it because, the Archie franchise, and speaking of the Archie franchise, if you don't know about the Archie franchise, Archie, Andrews, and, the rest of the characters there were pretty much a comic book, okay? So I think the comic started around the 50s, I think 40s or 50s. And, it's pretty much the adventure of this all-American guy, Archie Andrews, and his friends in Riverdale. Jughead, Veronica, Betty, all of them pretty much going on adventures. And throughout the years, and I think even still today, Archie Comics still makes comics, starring these characters. And now, I think the most relevant thing about Archie's Weird Mysteries now is the new series Riverdale, which takes on an even darker tone than this show took. But now is pretty much the current incarnation of the Archie characters and the Archie franchise. So, in other words, this franchise has been around forever, but in the 90s, you really didn't get many shows like it. There really wasn't another Archie incarnation since the new Archies in like 1987, when the Archies were like every 80s cartoon, either dumbed down babies of themselves or really snobby teenagers. The Archies happened to be very snobby teenagers. And so after that series from 1987, these characters really didn't appear anywhere else in the 90s until Archie's Weird Mysteries. And that's when, we got to visit the characters in Riverdale once again and discover some weird mysteries. So pretty much this is kind of this show takes on a much more darker tone than the older Archie and Friends programming from the 70s and the 80s. It takes on a whole different beast. Pretty much, Archie Andrews is now a reporter at his high school, and he does a column in his school paper called Archie's Weird Mysteries. And so Archie is a reporter, and he goes around Riverdale trying to find things that are weird. I know, right? Isn't that cool? Isn't that catchy? Archie's Weird Mysteries, stars Archie Andrews going around and finding weird things in Riverdale. That's pretty much the plot. Him and his friends pretty much discover weird mysteries. Whether they walk into a weird mystery or whether they are a part of a weird mystery themselves, they end up getting into things that are weird, battling weird monsters, experiencing some weird changes in their, everyday lives. It's just kind of, one of those sci-fi, semi-scary series, I guess. It's kind of like the Twilight Zone for kids. Let me just put it that way. I think that's the best way to put it. It's like watching the Twilight Zone. It's like, oh, there's this big cheese monster. How did it get there? We don't know, but we have to stop it. It's one of those shows. Okay, it's a weird mystery every week. So it may be a cheese monster on Thursday, and then next Thursday they're being invaded by computer viruses. That's what show this is. And again, it lasted one season, about 40 episodes, from 1999 to 2000. And it's a pretty decent program. So this DVD pretty much has all 40 episodes. Plus, you get some bonus tunes. So each DVD comes with a bonus tune. And pretty much Archie, as well as some other series that kind of came on cable television, are owned by this company called Cookie Jar TV. Me, unfortunately, I remember this program they made called the Doodle Bops. Now, I really didn't want to remember that, but they made that. They made the atrocity called the Doodle Bops. As well as they also produced some seasons of Arthur. Everybody knows about Arthur on PBS. They produced this somewhat. They produced Sabrina the Animated Series. They produced some other shows like Liberty's Kids. So pretty much Cookie Jar TV has the rights to Archie's Weird Mysteries, as well as some other programming that aired around that time, such as Sabrina the Animated Series, Arthur. They have some rights to this stuff. And so because they have some rights to it, as well as DHX Media, who pretty much owns Cookie Jar and owns everything, all that fancy stuff, DHS Media put some other goodies on this DVD, particularly if you're a fan of Sabrina the Animated Series, like myself. I do like Sabrina the Animated Series. Unlike the Archie's Weird Mysteries, it's not as dark, but, it still has a cleverness to it that I enjoy. As well as, I think they put an episode of Sabrina's Secret Life on here. That was the next series that came after Sabrina the Animated Series. Not as good, but, it lasted a season. Just like Sabrina the Animated Series and this show. But anyway, Sabrina the Teenage Witch is a part of the Archie canon, so it makes sense why they put some of her episodes with Archie's Weird Mysteries. honestly like the DVD design. I like how colorful it is. Look at how cool that is. That's nice. So I like the way they designed the DVD. You know, and with this particular version, you get the DVD plus a digital copy. So there's a barcode in here that you can scan. Here it is. Here's a barcode that you can scan where you can pretty much watch the show, I guess, on any device. So you can scan the code and instantly watch Archie's Weird Mystery on like your tablet or your computer or something. I don't know why you would do that since you have the DVDs and plus the code expires. So it's like you can watch the series up until a point, then the series goes away once the code expires. So doesn't make any sense. But if you want to watch Archie's Weird Mysteries on any device, you can do that with a digital copy of it.